something that's interesting. I mean, I've talked to some people in the press about this, and the attitude that I get from a lot of them is that they feel it's the candidate's responsibility to promote themselves.
Yeah. Well, it is to a certain degree, but I mean, we sent out press releases. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's. I mean, they haven't even picked up on that.
I am looking at this kind of as an experiment. I want to see what happens. One of the things because of the money issue, not only I mean, first of all, I admit I'm not the world's greatest fundraiser. Off the bat, I admit that. But there was some about midway through the first month of this quarter, I decided I just didn't want to go out and do the big fundraising stuff. For the simple reason that I want to see I want to see how this campaign is treated when we file our quarterly report in the middle of October, and we say that we've only raised a few $100s. I want to see the turnaround that's happened there, because what everyone bases how seriously they're going to take the campaign is how much money you've raised. That is by far the most important metric that everybody looks at, and so it's this vicious circle. If you don't raise the money, not only can you not buy the media time, but the media won't take you seriously.
Well, and I think we've seen that already. And we saw that with Robert Neal's figures. I mean, he hasn't been getting any coverage either. Neither has Bert Saunders, for that matter.
Hey, what's going on?
I didn't even hear it ring.
Now you forget about the meeting?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
You heard it ring? Oh, must have been vibrate.
Yep. All right. Well, we've been here for an hour, so.
Tonight's prison break.
That's all right.
Really?
I'll talk to you later. I'll let you know what's going on.
No.
Oh,
I don't
love
watch
prison break.
Oh.
So you're not going to watch Gossip Girl either?
Probably not.
Oh, I love you, Gossip Girl.
Tomorrow, I forgot.
We were talking about Robert Neal.
What
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see how he does this quarter, but as of last quarter, I had raised more money than the Democratic candidate. So.
I think it's, I mean, we've attempted to engage the press. They can't make that argument. We've let them know, every time we have a major announcement, we've invited them to fundraisers. We've been, we have as much of an interactive campaign as has ever taken place in this race in this district. And, if the media doesn't want to latch on to that, it's their responsibility, not ours.
And this is another problem that we've had, is that this is just not the best online community. I was on Justin TV for a while, and I had 60,000 views, something like that. And of all of those views, I never had one person that was actually in the district, watching a video. I'm not aware. Nobody from this district, with the exception of you, has ever written to me about the YouTube videos.
Oh yeah,
so and I've had. I did actually, when I was on Justin TV, is I had several people who said that they wanted to contribute money to the campaign. The problem was all these people were outside of the country.
Yeah. Well, I think
no Americans were offering. I had Canadians. I had a British pro wrestler who actually said that he really wanted. He was really gung ho. He really wanted to give us money and really wanted to help out the campaign, but he's not a U.S. citizen, and he doesn't live in the U.S. and he doesn't have a green card. So, I couldn't take the money from him.
I think.
When you give it to me, and I'll give it to you.
Right.
I think it's even borne out, when you look at corporate email capture. One thing I get from the bookstore all the time is that, we have to capture emails because our numbers are working at 30 or 40% below, below expectation, and the expectations are based on.
What do you mean by capturing now?
Yeah. The email capture is the corporate term for getting people's email. Basically, getting a customer's email or
addresses,
yeah,
or
email
the
addresses.
actual
Yeah.
okay.
and you know. And I think that, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people who don't use computers, and the people who do use computers, look at the forum usage at the news press. Look at the forum usage at the Naples Daily News.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
The forum comments on the news press make me want to cry.
Yeah, I mean,
I know. I always get those nasty ones. I have to fight back.
You know, I was. I think to me, like the one comment that like stands in my mind as like the epitome of like typical like news press commentary was they were talking about the coalition of Immokalee workers when they were up against Burger King.
Oh, yeah.
And Burger King, you know, when that whole thing was going on, someone wrote a comment which I don't remember it exactly word for word, but basically they said we need to put up a wall with machine gun turrets and mow them all down as they're trying to enter the country.
yeah, you know.
And I thought that encapsulates the comments on the news press perfectly.
And you also have, I mean, a lot of these people are you know, they go to a traditional news media source.
Yeah.
They go to the news press, or they go to Naples Daily News for that. You know, the non-traditional sources, especially the video. I would, you know, I'm not 100% sure of this statistic, but I think it's true that you actually still have a large number of people here on dial-up connections.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that. I wouldn't doubt that's the case. The problem, and I know those comments don't represent the majority of people in this district. You know, the problem is people who generally like to leave comments. They're either activists. You know, they're either young, they want to get their voice out there, or they're old and crotchety and have a huge ego and just think everybody needs to hear what they have to say. You know, so
that's the internet.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's interesting. I like to see the activists up there, regardless if they're right wing or left wing activists, because usually, you know, that's at least interesting debate, interesting discussion. But you know, you see the people that just, when it devolves into the shouting matches and into the flame wars and everything, that's not constructive. That's why a lot of major websites have taken down the comment section. That's why like Google News and Yahoo doesn't have a comment section anymore, because on the news stories, because the volume of comments that they got was just idiotic. I mean, look at the comments on YouTube. And the thing with YouTube is, I mean, you can see most of you just look at what's popular on any given day on YouTube. You can see it's a younger crowd that's checking out YouTube.
I think it's a younger crowd that checks out online video to begin with.
Yeah. So we are, unfortunately, I think ahead of the curve here in a lot of ways. What I really want to do, like I said, is I want to focus on the forums, and I want to focus on going with the resources that we have now, and then the best hope, the best chance that we have right now is just you know, we want to make a sincere appeal to people in this district that they really have to look outside the system, that this system is what's causing them the problems. And this congressional race is a good example, because we really only have one candidate that's inside the system completely, and that's Connie Mack. So hopefully, if we can get this debate going, that'll be a big deal. And that'll be a good opportunity, not only for me as a candidate to speak in the debate, but also to get some attention on this campaign, and to get some attention on this race.
You actually have an interesting degree of spectrum within, you know, you have somebody who's within the Beltway system, you have somebody who's on the state level system, you have somebody who's in the system insofar as he's a perennial candidate, and then you have somebody like yourself who's outside the system.
Yeah. No, and I think, you know, one thing that's really important about it, if we can get this debate going, is that I know for a fact that I represent a viewpoint that does not get voiced in the mainstream political system here all that often in this district. So, you know, it's an important opportunity for us to really give the people of this district an opportunity to hear something other than the usual Democratic Republican rhetoric that goes back and forth.
And I think that I mean, hopefully, and hopefully this is something that we can work with you on and make sure that you are able to tell this message in a condensed time frame. But I think that you have a far more nuanced and articulate way of looking at the issues than the other candidates do. I mean, which is I think endemic of any independent candidate, is that they deviate from the standard line, which a major party candidate cannot do.
Well, I tell you, I think the big weakness of all the candidates that I'm up against is foreign policy. I know it's a weakness for Connie Mack, because basically Connie Mack's foreign policy is the Bush Doctrine. I get the impression that that's the same thing that's coming out of that's going to come out of Bert Saunders' mouth. I've seen him answer one foreign policy question, and it was "Rah, America."
Well, it's offshore drilling.
Yeah.
And it's all Bush.
Yeah.
When we should be all talking solar, solar, solar.
Well, I'll tell you, we need to. I would love to interview Sarah Palin, and ask her if she's going to make the oil companies give every American $2,000 like they do in Alaska.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's kind of ironic. The Republicans are running against the idea of a windfall tax on the oil companies, and yet Sarah Palin is. Alaska is practically Saudi Arabia in terms of their relationship with the oil companies. Actually, she negotiated a $1,200 raise because of the windfall. So right now, every Alaskan gets $3,200 from the oil companies every year. So
maybe you guys should have went down and saw the people down at the Estero Rec Center that are homeless because of that flooding trailer park.
Yeah.
Since that's more of a congressional than a county thing. Because like Tammy Hall went down there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, because I don't think Connie Mack has been there, and they're all living in that rec center there off of Alico Road.
Yeah.
Is it Alico or Coconut Road?
I think it's Coconut.
Right, and that's a nice rec center because that's where we had that forum.
Corkscrew.
Yeah, they're all living in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that trailer park, I think that would be a good place to go and let the media know that you're going to see the prospective voters.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think
they're still there.
I know they're still there, but I think the media has lost interest in that story.
Well, then it's you show up as a candidate and say what you're going to do, and you get to Congress, maybe pay for that trailer park. Because I see you have the bumper stickers.
Yeah.
You'll be handing those out.
Well,
Say, has Connie Mack been here, or is he letting you drown in the water? Because Tammy Hall went.
I
That's
think
really
it might not be a bad idea.
But it's not a county thing, it's a Congress thing, because that's what she was saying. It's the county, it's part of the county, but unfortunately it's going to take an act of Congress to get anything done where, they have to rezone or do whatever it is with that district.
See, that's interesting, because I've been following this, and everybody seems to be passing the buck on it.
Yeah.
The Bonita City Council blamed the Conservancy.
Yeah, the Conservancy has nothing to do with it. I mean, they're simply an advisory, advocacy.
But I think it's a good place to go to get some coverage. Because I would call Warnerman and all them and let them know that you're heading down there to get it, Because remember Ron Wright, when he was running for councilman, remember he got shot and almost killed. Remember Ron Wright, Brian Bigelow's partner?
Mm-hmm.
So thank God for the shootout, because nobody wouldn't even know he was running for city council. You know what I'm saying? Another shootout, I'm thinking.
Well, I don't want to play that role in the campaign.
I know.
Let's go for a walk in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
We got a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or maybe we can just put them in a holster with some guns and say, "Where's that Connie Mack? I'm ready for a draw." Like in the old West with John Wayne.
I'm thinking gunplay is probably not our
It worked for Ron Wright.
Not a good idea.
He should be thanking those black people.
So unfortunately, I don't have a big plan of attack for the next month, other than what we've already got on the schedule.
Right.
That's actually a good suggestion. If anybody else has any suggestions of things that we can do over the next month that aren't going to cost a lot of money.
Well, I would also be at the September 22nd Cape Coral City Hall meeting, because they're going to discuss if they're going to appoint a mayor or they're not going to appoint a mayor, and that should be something for to be there as well, because I think they should appoint a mayor, but it shouldn't be anybody from the council. because half the people at Cape Coral can't stand anybody on the council. So that's all they need is somebody who they can stand now to be a temporary mayor.
Well, it's an all-new council, so.
Yeah.
No, but they're already over them.
Yeah.
They're already over them, except for one, maybe Birch. But the thing is, I think it should be a name in the hat, like, that's what they should do, and let everybody apply and then see what happens.
Boy, that is a thankless job.
Yeah.
Cape Coral City Council.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't decide to run for that.
Yeah, that was one that a while back I was thinking about running for Cape Coral because I live in Cape Coral officially. This isn't really my house. This is just our office.
Right.
But I was thinking of running for Cape Coral City Council, but there's just no way you can win. I mean, when you're looking at $22,000 impact fees, and they're pretty much locked into those contracts with MWH, I mean, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, I mean that was bungled and will remain a mess for another decade.
Yeah. That's a good example of one of the things that I'm really trying to run against is this every man for himself attitude, because Cape Coral is a perfect example of that. What should have happened with Cape Coral, the majority of the county lives in Cape Coral, is they should have they should have assessed that a small impact fee. And then assess all the water and utility development on property tax countywide, and that would have spread the burden out. That most people would have barely noticed it.
Yeah.
But instead, it's pay to play.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. It discourages economic development. I mean, it discourages growth.
Well, see, I would have gotten rid of it. I would have immediately stopped it.
Well, you need those utilities, though.
Well, you don't need them all over the place. You only need them in the urban places where there's like the restaurant stuff.
The problem is they're draining the water table, though, in Cape Coral. That's the problem. All these wells, when you have 170,000 people
Well, my
in the
parents have
city.
been there 40 years with their well and no drama.
Yeah, but the drama's...
Give it another 40 years.
Yeah,
But that's 40 years down the road.
No, it's not. Because, I mean, the growth in Cape Coral has been exponential. And if we hadn't hit the speed bump with the... with the housing crash, I mean, it would have continued.
But I probably would have done it differently. I would have held off on doing the sewers and waters everywhere, like when my parents are out there in Northwest Cape Coral. They've been without that for 40 years. But I would have only done the urban areas like the boulevards and stuff, and maybe some developments. But the rest, I would immediately had people. I would have had solar going on the roofs, and create some factories and jobs, and then you could have brought down the cost of that, because then those property taxes from those businesses that would have came could have went into paying for the
Well,
sewers.
the problem, I agree with you, it's a good idea. One of the problems is saying that you're going to create jobs and attract industry is one thing, actually being able to do it's something else. Because...
well, you could with my movie studios that I wanted to put up.
Yeah, well,
Did you see how stupid they're going to get $25 million out of that Horizon Council? Did you see it, the commissioners?
Mm-hmm.
How stupid.
Yeah.
For those high-tech jobs again. They're not going to... I don't understand why you have to pay people to come here. This is a paradise. If you take care of your beaches instead of letting the pollution get to them, and open those studios up, and believe me, wouldn't have to pay anybody to come here.
When it comes to actual... when it comes to industry, it's difficult because everybody and their brother, I mean, most of the industry has moved out of this country. So any sort of manufacturing or any sort of decent paying...
if you notice, in Orlando, they're the only ones still making money because of those movie studios. And that's what I'm saying.
Well, Orlando has a lot besides the...
Well, they have that and
theme parks, too. So.
Well, that's what we're going to have. We would have had the same thing. It would be building the Edison Ford Firestone theme park and sound studios. And just like Orlando, they made a big profit last year.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, you have to, I think the saying about this area is that it's been tourism and real estate based, and I think it's and I think people who say that it's more real estate based than tourism based are 100% correct. I don't think that Southwest Florida has done nearly enough to promote itself as a tourist destination, and they haven't built the infrastructure.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You
need the infrastructure. You need high-speed rail from the airport to there, and building the studios on Burns Store. It's only 12 miles from the Punta Gorda Airport, and it sits between two, and it's only 4 miles in from the water, so the wealthy can come by yacht when the hotels are built off of Burns Store, just like Burns Store Marina has the marina and golf and stuff. So and a nice solar power plant like the one that FPL's building over in DeSoto.
Yeah, it's a product. That's a good point. I mean, even with the beaches, I mean, beaches have been parceled up and sold off as real estate, more for summer homes than for actual tourist enjoyment. I mean, you can't, and this is a chronic problem anywhere. People with money love to either be up high or near the water. And so this is a problem everywhere with beaches everywhere, is that like my aunt has a place in Nantucket, and Nantucket is a ghost town for 9 months out of the year, except in summer, because it used to be a fishing community, but all that property was bought up, and it's and these really nice big McMansions and high
And they
price.
had a TV show too, Wings.
Yeah.
Who didn't love Wings?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
They had a
show.
great movie too. They had Jaws.
I know they had Jaws, but I like Joe and Brian.
Yeah.
The Wings.
So, but and Fort Myers Beach has the same problem. I mean, it took 20 years to get a Publix on Fort Myers Beach
Yeah.
because there just wasn't enough people actually living on the island, and you can't afford to live on the island because housing is so high. And
But
most
that's
of the
what I'm
housing
saying.
sits empty most of the year.
Because if you market the tourism with having entertainment, because a lot of people come here and once they're done the beach, they're over it. So that's what I'm saying. We build up tourism with entertainment, like Orlando did. I mean, they have beaches, and they have the Orlando has that, and they have. I mean, we're lucky because we have the baseball parks. So you'd have the baseball parks. You come for a game, or you can watch a show being taped at the New Edison Studios, and then or go to the beach when the crapper isn't broken down and the refuge isn't going into the Gulf of Mexico. That's so retarded. So I think that's our forte, and that's why it makes me crazy that they want to spend $25 million to bring another pharmaceutical company here, which I think is fine once you build up your entertainment and your tourism. Then that's fine, but that's just great.
We do need those jobs, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a specialized field. I mean, the busboys and the waiters and the waitresses couldn't work there, and that's what I'm saying. The studios are spectrum for the whole gang, from waitresses to busboys.
No, it's definitely a good idea. I mean, I'm wholeheartedly behind it.
And I think, especially in the right to work state, that's what makes it crazy. I mean, you don't have to be in the union. It's fabulous.
Well, and the tourism that is promoted here is mostly. I mean, it's mostly snowbird. It's mostly older couples. I think if you promote it as a family destination, which I think would jibe with most of most of the values here as well. I just think that you need to have some economic infrastructure, because we don't. And I think the most important thing. With this market, we're so closely tied to real estate, and I think with
paying for it now.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a perfect time to say, hey, let's get an industry that would be effective year round, and year after year, something that isn't so influenced by the market.
This is a problem nationwide, though. I mean, it's not just a problem here. Is we have, I said this. I said this at the kickoff, at the official campaign kickoff. I said, basically, this country makes three things. We make war, entertainment, and I don't even remember what the third thing was.
Kids. We make a lot of kids.
But essentially, if you look at in this country, the financial industries were making all the money. It was money making money. It wasn't actually producing anything. It was just money going. It was all these pyramid schemes, which is what essentially the real estate derivatives. It's a big giant Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, Cape Coral lies that came true.
Yeah.
And incidentally, we actually, in terms of population growth as a country, are headed down. So I think that any tying things to population growth, which is a great deal what the real estate market is a bad idea.
Well, the thing about the U.S., and this is one of the things that we have to face up to, is if the U.S. is to survive